What's good, YouTube and Twitch? We're live streaming to both, so welcome to the house, and we're here with an unironic ban list discussion. And the problem upcoming here is that not a lot of changes are gonna be happening besides the ban list through the next couple of months. While spirals get a little bit of indirect support thanks to Magician Souls, I personally remember spiral format and not liking this. People are cheering heading forward just for any freaking drop of change in the metagame. So this ban list, I think, needs to be very, very impactful, and people are scared it won't be because of the OCG's ban list. I think the OCG's list was minimalistic because there's the announcement of the Master Rule, and they're still cyclical with their ban list. They're still gonna update over in March. So for us first, our only going forward change without a ban list is kind of this deck. So let's talk about changes that kind of need to happen for us to open up a format and make the next 3 months of Yu-Gi-Oh! Interesting. Then we'll talk some Master Rule changes, and chat's going crazy right now. My name Jeff. So let's go ahead and get into this. I think Orcust needs to get hit hard. What you really could ban is orchestrated Babel.
I need my Trickstar Light Stage back to 3.
Trickstar Light Stage doesn't need to go to 3. We can talk about that later. But orchestrated Babel is what allows the Orcus combo to go, I'm gonna do my combo, I'll do it again. I'll do it freaking again on your turn. And a lot of people want to see this straight up banned. There's no other answer. You can't put it to 1. You can't put it to 2. It needs to be banned if you're going to cut Orcus off there. And I think it makes the deck a lot more fair and turns it more into an OTK strategy and sticks it back on the tables. Also, I think instead of Harpor, Skeleton is what really thrives if you're going to hit something besides Babel, because hitting Skeleton stops Dengirsu from coming back out on the turn as consistently. And so when we look at that, when we look at Skeleton, it's really the power play that they have going currently. Moving on into maybe a problem within the format, a lot of people are still complaining about super polymerization. I think this is a fine counter in the current meta, but depending on what does develop in the future, it could be problematic. I think you let it sit out there for now, and you slap it when it becomes this real kind of problem. It's a problem against dark decks, and that's a lot of the current players playing to be complaining about poly. There's other ways to play, there's other things to do about it. I think it's okay for now. A mid-range deck that a lot of people are complaining about with the ban list hitting other decks is that Salamangreat will rise to the top. I do think it needs some hit. SPINNY to 1 would be really awesome for it. And I might even go as far as to ban Will of the Salamangreats. It's how they're really turboing out OTKing and getting great boards right now. It's just how the deck's evolved, and putting it at 1 does nothing. They're just going to grab it back from the graveyard as a resource to be able to OTK. So I think these two combined would balance the deck out a little. Let's get to Sky Strikers. Let's go ahead and talk about, oh, ban engage, ban engage, ban engage. I'm with you actually on this one. I think Sky Striker, the engine, will survive no matter what. If you leave it engaged, it'll just be a little turbo piece. You search whatever you want. You can get a draw on top. You can grab it back from your graveyard. I'd like to see it banned, and I'd like to see Ray to 1 because there's a new pilot coming. A lot of people are also saying right now, well, they're not gonna be hitting Sky Striker. They're printing new cards. They're gonna want to sell them. Very few cards in that set that it's going to come out and is going to sell itself. So when I look at Rose and I look at the Sky Striker Link 2 and everything coming out, Rose got nerfed. You hit Ray to 1, you ban engage. Sky Striker, the deck still does a little something, but not nearly enough of what it needs to do. Let's talk about now some Master Rule stuff. When I look at Instant Fusion, I don't think it needs to get hit, but a lot of people with the new Master Rule are saying it's too good because it gives you basically Called by the Grave at 6, and it gives you access to it from the extra deck. Millennium Eyes Restrict is really good. And under the new Master Rule, having it in your main monster zone and not be a choke point is cool. But with Instant Fusion, I personally think when I'm staring it down, like, this card has been in meta after meta. It's been in ban list discussion in past formats. Hit the Millennium Eyes Restrict and let this continue to be a card. When metas slim down, this tends to appear, and I think it's a good and skillful tool. I wouldn't hit this because of Millennium Eyes Restrict. I'd slap Millennium Eyes Restrict. Double Iris for pins. This is a good shakeup when I think about it. Like, this with pendulums being hurt, yeah, they were helped in some senses, like you look at Harmonizing Magician, but they weren't helped enough to where the other decks are going to rise and leave them behind. So I would like to see some of their tools and resources back moving forward, and then, you know, you can synchro Xyz and do all the cool stuff as well. Shake-up cards in general, we got some interesting choices from chat. Lithosagem is somebody that died for Dinosaur Sins in a made-up Worlds format. I would love to see this actually peel off the list to 1 and see how bad it really could be. I don't think it would be. This one's gonna get mixed reactions. Astrograph Sorcerer, blue Chronograph at this point. We used to call, you know, Chronograph red Astrograph. This card needs, I think, to peel off the 1 just to see what we could have access to and not leave pendulums behind. A lot of people are looking at the new Master Rule and going, pendulums are dead. They're not dead, but they could use a little help. I always say this card is to 0 or to 3, max C. I think that this is a pretty good option to counter the insanity of what's about to happen, and I think we could even see like the max C challenge come back despite having access to like 15 different hand traps. Max C is 3 or 0 for sure, but I'm starting to lean towards 3 in the argument for shakeups at least here. I am for and against some of these. Somebody said to release all the Dragon Rulers. I think Blaster is the next one to peel off because it actually does the least. You have Mermail / Deep Sea getting a lot of hype with Tidal, and that could see play there. Redox, I think, is too generically good, but when it comes down to Blaster, I could see him peeling off also. And you do have Dark Matter Dragon on the ban list, so I feel like with releasing the Rulers, Blaster's the next one. I don't want to see them all come off at once, but a lot of people seem interested in that. I still have flashbacks to tier 0 formats and have airs of cautions, but maybe it is about time. For the control players, I would like to see Solemn Warning to 3 and Scapegoat to 3. Typically with control, and Scapegoat was broken because of links, and links are weaker, but with control decks, you get a power play thanks to Scapegoat, and that's huge for control decks. And it's even worth, you know, usually you want all 5 back rows to be reactive, giving up one of those reactive back rows for the power play later. A little consistency given up for power. So Scapegoat to 3, could certainly see it, and Solemn to 3, I could see that too. Following the OCG, I would like Tour Guide to be at 2 or 3, especially maybe a little something else for Burning Abyss. Other people are saying Dante to 1, it's too crazy. I like the madness of Burning Abyss and its resource toolbox. Definitely a biased YouTuber here. Other things that could peel off, I think somebody in Konami TCG really hates 6AMs, but Gateway to Multiple would be interesting with synchro options under the new ban list, yet they have it in the OCG at 3, and they're not really even giving it kind of the time of day here. I hate this discussion, but I'm gonna do it for you guys. Spellbook of Judgment. People are saying it could peel off. I don't think it should. We have a more expansive spellbook engine here. It even saw play in a recent YCS first place deck. I don't think it needs to. Like, it doesn't need to be anywhere near our metagame. Pot of Avarice. I was for this originally, but to reward synchro spam decks and link spam decks, the ability to refresh the extra deck and get paid for it by giving up a combo starter or extender to become a later in the turn extender, I think is a bit powerful. And a Hero Lives. This card could come off to 3, I personally think. I had one person actually in chat saying that, like, heroes should get hit. Like, you should actually put Vion to 1. I think a Hero Lives is fine to 3. I want to see what heroes can do under the new Master Rule. Let's talk about some extra deck hits. I think Synchro Spam definitely needs some very strong handling. When we look at Junk Speeder, it was made to try to bring Synchros back under Master Rule 4, not 4 revised. We need to slap Junk Speeder now and just put on the ban list. Trish needs to go back down to 1. Hand looping is very, very real, and we got a donation here. Let's see.
Duo to 1.
Duo to 1? No, never. Please, no. Gosh, no. I remember when it got reprinted in Legendary Collection Kaiba and people really thought it was coming off, but it was actually just to make GOAT format a little cheaper. Metamorphosis is the next one that needs that reprint for the discussion. But Trishula and hand looping is unhealthy. It actually hurts more to me to have my whole hand taken from me and be unable to play rather than getting FTK'd, because it's essentially, I get a turn, I get to see a card, I get even saltier. I'm like, I can do nothing. I think hand loops are extremely unhealthy and Konami's likely to take care of it. Tempest Magician Magician needs to be banned. It's an FTK burn card. That should be enough to look at this and say, whoa, Deep Sea Diva, 1 card FTK with this in the OCG? Yeah, it needs to be slapped. As a thought, a card that says you can't play, I think it could just... That's enough of an explanation. Konami did a good one with that. Master Rule changes. Colossus, yeah, we need to hit Pure Thunder. I think Colossus to 1 is very reasonable. Like I said, I would rather ban this card than Instant Fusion if it becomes the problem. And let's talk about this guy, BORRELSWORD Dragon. Links, as a strategy weaken because you have other access. You still will have strong options in Link monsters. This is an OTK in your extra deck, and I think we got comfortable with it. It should not be okay. We should not have an OTK in our extra decks that also can't be destroyed by battle and then gets bigger and clashes over things. It just should not be a thing, and I think it's about time we take care of it. We just kind of fell for the madness, and it's about time. And SARYUJA to 1 is something else that I could see happening, because now we're going to open up to all kind of strategies. I definitely think some of the synchro loops do enjoy having multiple of him, and the Link decks may start to recycle hands with dangers, and what BA has access to also with Links and Triple Dante is kind of crazy too. It's an extender that's too good by allowing you to fix hands and special summon, and we missed the boat on this to sell Dude the set, so I would like to see this get slapped about now. But I will say this too, I think Konami needs to make a Dude 2 with the new Master Rule coming up, and they'll probably want Dude 1 to look very strong around that time, so we might get some like lesser hits and maybe less imports as well. Like this could miss the Shadol structure deck, and people would talk about it on a ban list then again too. I think Dude needs to look strong as we approach Dude 2 later. I didn't think I'd be saying that, but the Master will leave so many cards behind and all the buyouts are so crazy. I'd like to see that. But with these changes and these kinds of looks, you definitely see a window into the discussion of something needs to change when we head towards January, because that ban list needs to heck things up. It needs to create a really good change. Otherwise, we're playing stale Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to feel real bad until we get there. And maybe that's what Konami wants, for us to cheer for the saving at the end. No, I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! For 3 months. I want it to be interesting. I want to pay attention to the YCS scene. I want competitive things to shake up and not just be like, oh, is there a cool SPYRAL combo? No, the core set's not going to do enough. The ban list is what needs to do it. And the ban list is now what needs to ironically save us after one of my other discussions. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for joining live if you are in the chat. And give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy the conversation. And use that TCG player link in the description down below when buying cards. Not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.